Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Friday the 19th of August 2022. Today was match day because our game had been moved a day earlier to be on Sky Television. And we lost, which is no surprise because we were at Carrow Road and we haven't won there since 1968. In fact, we've only won there 5 times in now 45 games. So that is absolutely horrendous. The place is cursed, and it is what it is. Yeah, absolute nightmare. A nightmare place for Mill to go to. We never win there. We lose often, so we lost today. Lions lose at Carrow Road. This is from millwallfc.co.uk. Millwall were defeated 2-0 by Norwich City at Carrow Road in the Sky Bet Championship on Friday night. Josh Sargent's double in the second half handed the Lions defeat on the road. Gary Rowett made 3 changes for the trip to Carrow Road as Ryan Led and Sean Hutchinson placed Jake Cooper and Charlie Cresswell in the centre of defence, with a further alteration coming in the midfield as George Saville came in for Jamie Shackleton. All 3 dropped to the bench. The game got underway in front of a noisy crowd, with the first opportunity of the night coming in the 7th minute and going the way of the hosts, but Kieran Dow struck wide from the outside of the penalty area. Onel Hernandez then failed to trouble Bartosz Białkowski with a header from a corner before Tyler Berry's deflected cross almost created an opening opportunity for the Lions, but the ball bounced up into the arms of Tim Krul. Berry was in control of the ball. The first effort on goal did arrive with 23 minutes on the clock, but the attacker's cross was headed over by George Honeyman. A smart move down the left-hand side involving Berry, Saville and Murray Wallace shortly before the half-hour mark, then saw the Lions advance into the area, but the ball was cleared away before a right-footed cross from Wallace was flicked over the crossbar by Benica Fobi. Marcelino Nunes then sliced wide as both sides carried on in their attempts to break the deadlock, with Berry's running then causing the Canaries issues. For 39 minutes as he burst down the left, he laid the ball back to Scott Malone, but his cross was gathered by Krul. Daniel Sinani's chance was high and wide and not so handsome as the break approached, with Nunes following suit in 1 minute of stoppage time. Early into the second half, the Lions could have took the lead, but Malone's in-swinging corner zoomed through the penalty area without a single touch. However, there were 50 minutes played when the Canaries were able to open the scoring, and it came through Sargent, who played a 1-2 with Sinani before firing past Białkowski from inside the area. Nunes curled a free kick wide of the post as Norwich's tails were up following the opener. When goalscorer Sargent chased down the kick from Białkowski, it looked as though the lead would be double, but the stopper was able to get back and save the ball behind. A triple substitution with 20 minutes to play saw Shackleton, Andreas Vogelsammer and Fleming replace Billy Mitchell, Berry and Honeyman. And it was the latter who attempted to assist Hutchinson 3 minutes later, but the defender's header was glanced wide off the far post. With 15 minutes left, however, the lead was doubled as the Canaries took advantage of a long punt forward for Sargent to ghost in and score. Millwall could have reduced the arrears on 80 minutes, but after Wallace nodded down a Malone corner, Fobi poked out a leg to turn the ball over. Vogelsammer then struck a fierce attempt towards goal that had to be tipped onto the bar by Krul before Fobi's overhead kick went over. With no further chances of note from there, the Lions slipped to defeat. And the team was Białkowski, Hutchinson, Leonard, Wallace, McNamara, Mitchell, Saville, Malone, Honeyman, Berry and Afobe. And the subs were Cooper on 86 minutes for McNamara, Shackleton on 69 minutes for Billy Mitchell, Fleming on the 70th minute for Honeyman, and Vogelsammer on the 70th minute for Berry. And the unused subs were Long, Bradshaw and Cresswell. So there you go. Now, watching it for the first goal. Now, watching it in the first half, obviously the last 3 games have been absolutely slow to start. Conceded more or less 2 goals in the opening half hour in each of our last 3 games, even though we did concede 2 goals in this game. Watching the game in the first half, as Norwich are coming forward, you're expecting, oh, is this it? Are they going to score here? Are they going to score here? Because that's what's been happening. So, but luckily, no, didn't work. We got to half time 0-0. Now coming out the first goal that they scored, there was literally only 2 Norwich players forward, and probably like 6 or so Millwall players, but they were all firmly in formation. No one was tracking the runner. They were just kind of marking space, defending space, and making sure there wasn't much room. So no one was following the guy when he's running, and that happened in the second half as well with Todd Cantwell coming on. No one just came to him. They were all like, okay, I'll stand here and mark this area, and then they all moved back at the same pace. So yeah, so then they come forward, did a little 1-2, and no one's picking up the runner, so he's got the ball and scores into the goal. So I don't know if their manager mentioned that at half time to dribble at them more, because they're doing that. I don't know, but yeah. And after that, it was just inevitable. Going forward, Afobe looked absolutely knackered. I mean, he had probably the best chance of the game, as they said in that match report. But to be honest with you, if he would have just stood there and let the ball hit him, he probably wouldn't have done better than what he got out of it. Because at least then the ball probably would have went down. He stuck his leg out. Obviously, his leg's under the ball. He's not over the ball, and the ball goes over. And again, Vogelsammer hit the bar from probably about 30 yards out, which is, so to be honest, I was thinking, like, you're going to take a phobia off for Vogelsammer? Because Vogelsammer looks a bit, looks like there's some fire in his belly or something. And the phobia just looked absolutely knackered. He's had to do a lot of defensive work. He's see him at times, like in our own half. Not like set pieces or what, just literally just in normal passages of play, just in our own half, trying to get the ball. And what can you do? Again, is this the away form? Is this our trip to Carrow Road? It's we seem to be relying on luck. We got lucky at Swansea. We got lucky in the game against Coventry, because obviously Mason Bennett got injured. Tyler Berry come on and he produced the magic that we needed to get back into the game. So that wasn't a planned thing. That was chaos that created the chances for that. It seems when we actually try and plan to win a game, the plans don't happen. The plans don't work. The plans don't come off. Yeah. So let's get into some of the comments and post-match reports. So this is the match report from News at Den. Just going to go to the takeaways for this one. Improved performance. Millwall report against Coventry and Swansea came away positive results, while the Lions improved their performance level against Norwich. They left with a defeat. The Lions controlled the game well until the goal, when the host quality started to shine through. Even then, the questions will be asked as to whether the second should have stood. It's a results business, however, and Rowett's men will need to be much sharper in front of goal when Reading visit the Den in 8 days' time. I don't think we weren't controlling the game. We were just managing Norwich and restricting them to pot shots. And we were forcing them to do stuff that they wanted to do. I mean, the commentators mentioned it on Sky. Pressing them, because they do this thing where they do a little fucking side goal kick instead of booting it down the field. And we were forcing them, after doing that, to boot it down the field. Which then we head it back, and then because we've got players at the back who can head the ball and win headers. So obviously teams don't want to just boot it down the field. There's no point. So we've got to press them and force them to do that, or force them to kick it out for goal kicks and or corners or throw-ins. So A revamped defence. Rowett said he would make changes against Swansea in midweek and ultimately ended up fielding a similar team. He said the same thing ahead of Millwall's trip to Carrow Road, and this time stuck to his word. Lions played with a revamped defence that looked fairly comfortable in the opening half, but just couldn't handle Norwich's quality in the end. It will be interesting to see who starts against Reading next weekend. Now, like I said, it wasn't really Norwich's quality. I think the manager at half time said something to them, and what he said, he must have seen something, he's done something, and it worked out for them because 5 minutes into the second half, they scored a goal. And Millwall will just carry on, same old, same old. Let's try and defend. Let's trust 2 banks for 4 or whatever. I'm trying block them out from passing the ball and opening the game up. But no one was following the person on the ball. They were looking ahead, so where's he going to pass it to? Let's block it, block that, let's block that, let's block that. Let's block this path, let's block that path. No one was actually confronting the person on the ball to stop them from passing. Fleming returns. While both Tom Bradshaw and Zion Fleming returned to the Millwall squad, only the latter got on the pitch. He looked sharp too, contributing in the final third towards the end of the game. Ultimately, he couldn't help the Lions get on the score sheet as Norwich ran out 2-0 winners. Nonetheless, he's returned with a welcome sight, and fans will now hope he can hit the ground running. I didn't look at him too closely, but to be honest, yeah, I'm probably preferring Sandros Vogelstammer already. He's come off the bench twice and hit the post twice. From distance, bear in mind, from distance, if he actually got a fucking chance inside the area, I think he's scoring. I think if Afobe doesn't score in the next game, you've got to take him off. I know Rowett probably left him on because he's got a goal in him. He's a decent striker, but come on, he's playing 2 games Tuesday, Friday. He's knackered. He's having to come back and defend. He should have got taken off for Vogelstammer. That would have been the move to make. But then what happens then? If he comes on and scores, Afobe's position is in jeopardy. So we'll see about that. So let's have a look at what Gary Rowett had to say. So Leeds Loney had slight niggle as a Millwall boss explains the team changes he made for Norwich City reverse. This is from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Millwall manager Gary Rowett has explained his call to make 3 changes to his starting lineup for tonight's 2-0 defeat in Norwich City. Sean Hutchinson, Ryan Land and George Saville came in with the Lions chief knowing some rotation would be needed after the 2-2 draw at Swansea was followed quickly by another championship away day this evening. Let me just say I thought George Saville played pretty decently, to be honest, yeah. And let me also say this game was lost. When was this? This game was lost as soon as it was moved from Saturday to Friday. Why? Norwich played on Tuesday. They had a home game. So they've got 2 home games in 4 days. We played away at Swansea, one side of the country. We then come back and have to play away from the furthest east of the country, that championship team is, in the space of 4 days. As soon as that game was moved, we were losing it. And you've got to think it's deliberately done by Sky because they've got to find a game to pick to put on Friday because they're doing Friday night games, not Saturday morning. Well, they're probably doing that as well. They're doing extra games this season. So they've got to pick games to put on Friday. So who do they look at? Well, they look at Norwich because they've got 2 home games. So they wouldn't mind. They probably wouldn't mind if they got 2 home games in 4 days. But then they've got to look at the away team. Oh, well, Norwich are playing Millwall. That's great. Fuck Millwall. Well, we can put them there. Who cares about Millwall? So as soon as this game was moved to Friday, we were losing it. Rowett said it's been a tough week. Just where we could keep a bit of energy in there to bring Sean Hutchinson, George Saville and Ryan Lennon into the team was quite an easy decision, really. They're all very, very good players that are replacing very good players on the other side. In Jamie Shackleton's case, he had a tight calf, so I didn't want to risk him for the full 90 minutes. I think we got through it with no injuries. We've got players back on the pitch. Fogey had a shot and showed what he can do. Zion got in some nice pockets, and with a bit more sharpness and fitness, he can show the quality he has got. We've had a real challenge in the first 5 league games to have enough strength and depth to make the changes. We're going to have to do that this year. If you look at Norwich, who have Pukki and Cantwell on the bench, you need to be able to compete with teams like that to get where you want to be. Tom Bradshaw was also on the bench after returning from injury, but did not get on the pitch. We'll need to get those players, Bradshaw and Fleming, a little bit more match sharp because they have missed a little period now, said Rowett, but you can see the quality in those players who can really help us. I have to remember that Norwich is a side that came down from the Premier League, and I believe they are now on 7 points, exactly the same as us. So as disappointed as we are, I think we've done okay early part of the season. There is a lot more cut to come from us. Yeah, if you go back to the videos when the fixture came out, I said this month is an absolute killer for us. We've got Norwich away, we've got Burnley away, and we've got Swansea away. Now we've got a point, and Sheffield United away. We've got a point at Swansea. We beat Coventry. Obviously, we got the obvious defeat at Norwich. And now what happens at the rest of the month? We've got Reading at home next Saturday. Now that's kids for a quick game. Crowd should be lively and high pitched squealing, but very supportive nonetheless. And we need to be winning that game because then literally 3 days later we got Burnley away. So tough opening month for us. Now we're going to move on to more from Gary Rowett, also from London News Online.co.uk. So Millwall boss Gary Rowett, there was a clear foul for Norwich City's second goal. No, there wasn't. There wasn't. If there was a clear foul, it was from Scott Malone, actually, to be honest. Yeah, Malone and the other guy were kind of wrestling each other, and then Malone decided to fall over and try and get a free kick, and you can't be doing that. Millwall manager Gary Rowett felt there was a clear foul for Josh Sargent's second goal in tonight's 2-0 defeat at Norwich City. The American scored twice in the second half at Carrow Road, but Rowett had an issue with Sargent's second, who saw him battling with Danny McNamara and Scott Malone in the build-up. The ball being worked back to Canary's front man for him to finish past Bartosz Białkowski. In my opinion, there is a clear foul for the second goal, Rowett told Sky Sports. Sargent jumps over Danny McNamara, stops him being able to play the ball. I know there's not massive amounts of contact, and then he almost falls on the back of Scott Malone. You see lots of moments where there's a little bit of contact, like late on the Vanley, falls to the ground and he gets a free kick 2 yards in front of the officials. My argument with that is that Roberts said he saw it clearly, but Dean, the fourth official, was 2 yards away. They have to help each other out. That costs us a second goal and it makes the game very, very difficult to chase. That's the frustration when you have worked so hard all week and travelled all the miles we've travelled. You're just asking to get the right moments. I couldn't argue that Norwich didn't deserve to win the game. They were excellent, but that's where you need the officials to step up and their quality to be good. In that moment, that wasn't clear enough decision making for me. Asked if he felt his side was still in the game at 1-0 down and having to fight back from trailing 2-0 in their previous 2 championship fixtures, Rowett said, of course you do. At some point, occasionally, you have to go behind away from home to chase the game in the last minutes. At a place like this, you can't go too gung-ho early on. 1-0 is an absolutely crucial scoreline. We can put Big J Cooper on and we can put our forwards on. You saw how close Fogey comes on with a shot late on. There are some moments in there. Bennett has a chance. The game is always alive at 1-0. People are human. I understand not everyone is going to get the right decisions, but this new rule of we're allowing contact now, that's great. But a foul is still a foul whether there is contact or not. There was a clear foul in front of the bench, and that should have been given as a foul. Norwich probably might still go on and win the game 1-0, but this gives us a really different outlook on the last 10 minutes. Millwall now have 8 days until they are in action again at home to Reading. The Lions were in South Wales on Tuesday and stayed overnight to help their preparation for the trip to Norfolk. I knew it might take an effect as the game went on. We just started to fatigue a little bit with the ones who started, said Rowett. You can't do 5-hour journey to Swansea, then a 5-hour journey back, then a 4-hour journey to Norwich. The reality is the games Tuesday and Friday have put an extra physical toll. Norwich had 2 home games, exactly, that's what I said. The advantage physically is to them. They still move the ball well and do lots of good things. They are an excellent side under Dean. We need the breather. I can't actually be critical on my players tonight. They gave everything in a week. That was tough to keep them fighting and to keep them going against 2 good opponents. I'm actually really proud of the team. If we play like that in large spells, I think we'll come away with plenty of points. So yeah, I've got to disagree with him. It wasn't a clear foul. It was like I said, it was a bit of both. 50-50. and then Malone just decides to hit the deck. What I would say is there was a lot of shirt pulling going on from Norwich that wasn't punished. In fact, the referee didn't do. He didn't book as many people as he could have or should have. He didn't book Murray Wallace. Murray Wallace did absolutely brutal stuff. Instead of, he was on the floor, pretended to get back up and just kind of jumped into the geezer of a Norwich legs and gave them a free kick. I mean, that made me laugh at the time, but I mean, should have got booked at least for that, and there was some other stuff as well. So the referee, like, he was very restrained in the bookings and stuff that he could have been given out, because there was a lot of funny business going on, shirt pulling and other stuff. So um, the one that led to the goal, that really was Malone was doing more than the other geezer, to be honest with you. So I don't know what Rowett is talking about, but I agree that having the game moved to Friday was the killer that lost us the game. Not that we probably could have won it, because we haven't won this since 1968. So what are you gonna do? And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.